All right, so you've done it. You've launched this huge marketing campaign. The ads are out there, the budget is running. But how do you actually know if it's working? I mean, really working? That's the big question, right? And today we're going to dig in and find some answers. This. This is the question that probably keeps you up at night. Did all that time, that effort, that money, did it actually move the needle? It sounds like such a simple question, but getting past the surface level numbers to find the real story, well, that's where it gets really interesting. Let's be real for a second. The problem we have today isn't a lack of data, not at all. We're practically drowning in it. We've got clicks, views, likes, a whole sea of numbers. The real challenge is making that leap from just having all that information to actually using it. How do we turn that giant pile of numbers into smart, decisive action? So let's start with what I like to call the data deluge. This whole idea that just having a mountain of numbers isn't really the answer. In fact, if you don't have a plan, it can just be a lot of noise that gets in the way of the actual signal. Here's a great way to think about it. Your marketing data is kind of like the dashboard in your car. It tells you your speed, your fuel level, all that good stuff. But the dashboard doesn't actually drive the car for you, right? It's how you respond to that information, when you hit the brakes, when you turn the wheel, that actually determines if you get where you're going. Okay, so how do we respond the right way? The key is to start finding the story that's buried inside all that data. It's about looking past the raw numbers and spotting those meaningful trends and opportunities that are just hiding there, waiting to be found. Data can tell you an amazing story about what's working. For instance, an e-commerce brand starts noticing a pattern. Interest in winter coats always picks up in the autumn, so by watching their analytics, they see that engagement is spiking in November. That's their cue. They go hard on marketing then, which perfectly sets them up to capitalize on peak demand with special sales in December. See? The data wasn't just a report on the past, it literally gave them a roadmap for future sales. But the story your data tells isn't always a happy one. And honestly, that can be even more valuable. Think of analytics as your early warning system. Imagine a software company sees tons of people starting to sign up for a free trial, but almost nobody finishes the process. The data can pinpoint the exact spot, that one confusing field in the sign-up form where everyone is giving up. Now, that's not a failure, that is a gift. It's a super specific, actionable insight that lets them fix the problem and boost their conversions. And once you find those stories, the good, the bad, the opportunities, you can actually do something about them. And that leads us straight into our third section, smarter targeting and better content. This is all about using those insights to make sure you're reaching the right people with a message they actually care about. So, check this out. Take a beauty brand, for instance. Instead of just blasting the same generic email out to their entire list, their analytics show they have two totally different groups: skincare lovers who binge-watch video tutorials and hair care fans who would rather read style guides. So what do? They just tailor the content to each group. And bam, engagement goes through the roof. Why? Because the message suddenly feels personal, it feels relevant, not like just another piece of junk mail. And this works for content formats too. Imagine a fitness brand looking at their YouTube numbers. The data is crystal clear. Their 10-minute yoga videos, people watch 80% of the way through, but their 30-minute HIIT workouts, oof, a huge drop-off. The audience is literally voting with their attention. The data is screaming at the brand, make more short yoga videos. It's that simple. But look, at the end of the day, this all comes back to the bottom line. It's about the money. Which brings us to section 4, making your budget work. How do you prove your marketing dollars are actually delivering a return? The answer is optimizing your spend. And the key to unlocking that is a little something called attribution. So what in the world is marketing attribution? Well, in the simplest terms, it's the science of figuring out which of your marketing efforts gets the credit for a sale. Was it that blog post they read last week, the social ad they clicked yesterday, or the email they finally opened this morning? It's all about giving credit where credit is due, so you actually know what's working. Okay, let's trace a customer's path to booking a test drive for a new car. First, they see a cool video ad on YouTube. A few days later, a Facebook ad pops up in their feed, and they click it. Then, finally, they go directly to the website and book the appointment. Now, an old simple model would only give credit to that final website visit, but multi-touch attribution shows us that, hey, that YouTube ad and that Facebook ad were absolutely crucial parts of the journey. It helps the brand see the real value of every single channel. And when you get this right, the results can be absolutely staggering.
The UK retailer Boots used their loyalty card data to send out super targeted, personalized email offers. And the result? They got an email open rate of 41.5%. That is just unheard of. And a huge chunk of those people then went in store to redeem the offer. That's not just a good campaign. That is literally turning data into foot traffic and sales.
All right, for our last section, let's look a little bit into the future with the automated advantage. This is all about how AI is completely changing the game, turning analytics from this passive thing into an active partner that helps you market smarter.
For the longest time, analytics has basically been a rear view mirror, right? It was all about generating these reports that told you what happened last week or last month. You were always looking backward.
But AI is flipping that script entirely. Now, analytics is becoming your windshield. It's using data not just to tell you what already happened, but to actually predict what's coming next. And, this is the important part, why.
So, what can it actually do? Well, modern platforms can give you predictive insights to forecast future trends. They have something called anomaly detection, which automatically throws up a red flag when your conversion rate suddenly tanks for no obvious reason. And they give automated recommendations, actual suggestions for what to do next based on the data. It's like having a super smart assistant working for you around the clock. This really is the new philosophy for how we should think about analytics. We're moving away from passive reporting and into active learning. You're not just creating a historical record anymore. You're building an intelligent system that learns from everything in the past and the present to make your marketing future way, way smarter. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one big question to think about. When you look at your own campaigns, is your data just a record keeper passively telling you what's already done? Or is it an active partner sitting next to you in the driver's seat, helping you decide where to go next? Because the answer to that can make all the difference.